Welcome to Talking Phat. That's Phat spelled P-H-A-T, which stands for purpose, hope, and truth. This is where solutions are discussed for today's problems in our country, in our communities, and in our lives.
But when we look at it, why is a trust such a secret in our community? It's like a taboo thing. We hear about it. It's like the white elephant. We hear about it, but where are they?
Yeah, so I can't speak fully on that. I just my personal opinion about it is, um, remember this is about generational wealth, passing that wealth down, and our society really frowns on some communities of doing that. We heard about in the past where they had the red line districts, where if you're on one side of the red line, you can get the financing for mortgages and stuff like that. But if you
Hmm.
happen to be on the other side of that red line, you're too high of a risk, right? And usually
Uh-huh.
those are communities of melanated folks,
Yes.
and some of the non-melanated uh, poor trash.
Hmm.
It's where those red lines set, but it's mainly those of the melanated communities,
Yeah.
disadvantage, and that's how they become disadvantaged. And so what they don't want is for us to raise up as a family, as a community. So that's the reason why it's a taboo. In my opinion, it's a taboo and not actually given out um,
Hmm.
to us as, hey, here's another vehicle for you to use. Hell, um, they don't even want us to know about LLCs and S corps and C corps, right?
Yeah.
And those are the lower forms of protecting yourself and limiting your
Hmm.
liability out there. Because most folks out there are operating still in their own name, put everything in their name. Because you're not a man until you own that land in your name, or you own that
Yeah.
vehicle in your name. You're not a
Hmm.
man or you're not a woman. You know,
Hmm.
only real man and only real woman put stuff in their own name. What's this LLC? What do you got to hide? You
Sure.
know, what
Hmm.
what shenanigans are you doing if you're doing that, right? But a smart businessman and woman, know that that's how they protect their liabilities and keep their assets going, and protect themselves from litigation. That's what I'm looking for litigation. But with the trust, it's an even higher form than that, because it's a private contract. And now you can pass your assets down to the next generation. And that's what they don't want us to do. They don't want us to pass down that generational wealth. They don't want to have it, they don't like that. And they
Hmm.
is being the system that's set up. They want us to be that backbone and the worker. They need
Yeah.
workers, so we're going to keep you as workers. And how do you keep them as workers? By not pass down that generational wealth and not giving you that information to where you can actually become an investor class and make the money
Hmm.
work for you. But you actually got to physically have to trade your hours and your physical labor for those dollars. And even
Hmm.
then, it's nothing but crumbs you're getting when you do that.
Truly.
Working for somebody else, or even if you
Yeah.
do working for your own self, you're still getting crumbs because the way you're structured. You're not even structured to even get the proper financing um, to get the capital to even build and grow your business. A lot of stuff that we have, we're going to different problems. I'm starting to go down another path, but about trust, the trust is going to be, that's the reason why, because they don't want us to pass down that generational wealth.
Hmm. Yeah.
They don't want us to pass.
You feel we can um, actually expose more people to information around trust? How can we do that?
Um, Starting off like what you're doing right now with your podcast, just get it out there, and just have a conversation about an honest, open conversation about trust and what it
Hmm.
is and what it isn't. Dispel some of the myths that most people have about it.
Hmm.
Um, there is a book, and I'll say this because it's in the public there. There's a book that they can get that will help them. It's called The Art of Passing the Buck. There's volume one and volume two. I would say get with volume one first and read it because it gives you the overall what these type of trusts I'm talking about, what they can do, their history behind them, stuff like that. The volume 2 is more of the blueprint behind it, and that's the more expensive book. It's like around about $500 last I checked to get it, but the first one's like $30.
Mm-hmm.
But I would suggest get the first one first, get a background of it, get what the trust is, what's meant to do. Because these trust systems been around for thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years. This is nothing new. They've been around in Roman times,
Wow.
right?
Didn't realize that.
Yeah, and they just again, it's nothing new. It's been out here, and actually, tell you the truth, the more you look into it, the more you study it, you'll see that the S corps, C corps,
Mm-hmm.
LLCs actually mirror the trust, just on the public side.
Ah, okay. So
So,
that's a caveat right there. That's the private side. You have the trust. Now, are there different? I know we talked about the revocable and irrevocable trust. Are there other types of trusts as well that would fall under those categories?
so you have your charitable trust, you have a living trust.
Mm-hmm.
There's over 100 type of trusts.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Black's Law Dictionary, they'll list out over 100 different types of trust
Mm-hmm.
that there is, but they're going to be specialized trust. There's one for special needs children. There's a spendthrift trusts. They got all different type of trust out there. But those are you got land trusts, but they're specialized trusts, but they still a trust. It's a contract between the settler and the trustee to protect and serve the beneficiaries and the assets that are in the trust for the beneficiaries.
Okay. So again, thank you for that because that is something I didn't know. I mean, I know a few of the terms, but as far as having those entities as trust, I didn't know. So there's a great benefit. It sounds like, wow, that we need more information. The art, what was it? The art of passing the buck.
That's correct. The art of passing the buck.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to definitely put that on must reading list, I should say. So, okay, so man, you've given us a wealth of information today. So how can a person, okay, they got the book, they want more direct personal information. Are they able to reach out to you, or how can that be done?
What I would say here is have them reach out to you, and then they can get in contact with me through you there,
Okay.
Keith. And we can move forward
Perfect.
with that there. One thing I will say is the key thing to everything is to get the proper trustee training. I don't care where you get the trustee training from.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, we need more trustees. Our community in particular needs more trustees. They need to know how to be a trustee. Being a trustee, which we didn't talk about here, but being a trustee entails a lot of stuff. And the main thing is you got to know law, and you got to know how to operate in commerce. And when you're being challenged, you got to know what the source of authority is to stand your ground. It's not just because I feel like it. Especially when you start dealing with the system there, the governments and their alphabet soups there. You gotta have the source of authority that they see, which is the Supreme Court justices and case law. You gotta start quoting and using the UCC, which is the Universal Commercial Code. You got to learn how to read and use the IRC, the Internal Revenue Code. Those are going to be your source of authority. You're going to learn how to do at least read and see what the sources of the legal encyclopedias are. The American Jurisprudence is one of them. Especially if you're starting off with not a lot of money. A lot of this legwork you're going to have to do yourself, so you have that knowledge and you pass that knowledge down to your family, because that's stuff that's not taught in your publicly funded education. And that's where we lack it there also, because most of us don't even know how to know what the laws are that actually protect. We don't even know our rights, let alone how to protect